Now, for another issue, the Diana inquest, thanks God, was just concluded. I was just wondering, first of all, the Scotland Yard called everybody. They called me, I mean, you know what I'm saying? And you actually were not called. How come?
Well, I mean, I wasn't that close to Diana, but I mean, I could not have contributed anything to that inquiry. Yes, but I still, I mean, this whole conspiracy of she being murdered, I mean, I would not really know anything, so I did not really expect to be brought into the soap opera.
Because you're the only one who wasn't. I was just thinking on my way here. Because when she was here, basically, Hasnat's family were just telling me yesterday how she went to visit, the famous visit. How was it that she basically tried to ask you to help a little bit to understand between her and Hasnat. Do you regret today, looking back, you didn't do it? Maybe you would save her from the Dodi chapter?
How can you have regrets about things, that have already happened? All I said was that I would try my best, because Hasnat wasn't, agreeing. She wanted to marry him. He wasn't at that point, he was uncertain or whatever. And so I thought, okay, I'll try and, be an intermediary. But that never happened because, after a while I read that she was with Dodi, who also I knew from London.
I mean, do you think it would have ever worked?
Who knows, it's very difficult to tell what marriage can work. You never really know a human being until you know their worst aspect. Until you know, what's the worst side of their character. You can't make it work. You can't make a marriage work. And unfortunately, most of the time, you don't know people's worst qualities until you're married to them. Eventually, it's two people deciding to overcome everything at any cost to make it work, and then they can overcome it.
What is your worst quality?
Well, my worst quality is that, I guess for Jemima must have been that, once I set myself, I've always had goals and passions and ambitions and dreams. And once I have a dream, then I go for it. The moment I stepped into politics, it was always going to be difficult for her. And then I think she wanted me to, there were times she thought I wouldn't make it. She probably still thinks I wouldn't make it.
You didn't give her enough attention?
Well, it's not giving her enough. It's trying to reconcile your marriage with your dream. I actually love my married life. I mean, there was nothing better than I enjoyed than being with my family. At that time, I was trying to, build this hospital.
In Lahore, the one with the cancer.
Yeah, and now, of course, it's the biggest charitable institution in Pakistan. So I was trying to reconcile the hospital. Then I had this political building up this party, and then the marriage. And so, it wasn't easy.
Mm-hmm. Do you like being single?
It's not a question of like. I mean, I accept my state now, and, once you go through a painful stage of divorce, it was probably the most painful thing that happened to me, along with my mother's death. I think they were the two most painful.
She died from cancer, that's why.
Yeah, she died of cancer. And then, of course, this divorce was extremely painful.
Was it painful because of the publicity or because of the emotions?
No, nothing to do with. I'm quite immune to publicity. I basically don't care what people say. I have, over the years, developed that, people will say one thing one day and another thing another. You don't lead your life worrying about what people say. But it did matter to me that my family split, and I would not be spending that much time with my children, because the children gave me the greatest happiness ever. And of course, the breakup of the family unit, so it was very difficult. But then, you move on.
What's the most difficult thing for you?
Well, it was difficult, for 6 months, a year was very difficult. But then, you move on.
Mm-hmm. Do you see yourself remarrying?
I have no idea. I'm at that stage in my life where I'm not brash enough to make these bold statements about what will happen in the future. I realize that, we plan our future, but life takes its own direction. So, I don't know. The answer is that.